A deeply embedded sleazebag decides he's going to manage some pro wrestlers and a rock band at the same time. We watch Roddy Piper in Body Slam as we conclude this year's WrestleMania, today on Nothing Movies.
As per your request, I have finished the Netflix documentary series, Mr. McMahon. A lot of shocking revelations on that miniseries, particularly in the last episode. A lot of horrifying and startling revelations that came to light over the course of that miniseries. Have to say, the thing that shocked me the most, the thing that made me sit up on the couch and go, whoa, is that mustache.
Oh, that he was growing for a while?
Holy shit, Vince.
Skeevy as fuck.
What? It's like he read his own press report and was like, well, people are going to see me as a sex criminal and as a literal cartoon devil. Better start looking the part. And it's like, because he doesn't have it for most of it. And then, like, it gets to the point where he's all like, okay, you're not interviewing me anymore. And then they have to go to, like, the real world news footage or whatever. And all of a sudden, he has the grossest mustache any man has ever grown.
This pencil thin kind of porn mustache.
He's looking the part. I'll tell him that.
It's so skeevy. It's a bad look for a man who already looks pretty ridiculous.
It's a bad look for a bad man.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
all right. Well,
in which case, the perfect look for him.
I know it's strange. It's like he knew the bad press was coming, and it's like, how can I make myself look more evil?
Yeah.
He just needs the little devil horns. It's literally like a Satan mustache.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
which is oddly how he kind of ran his business. He took like he took a negative thing that happened and spun it into, how can I turn this into a show?
his business and his life, one might say, yeah. And you know, I watched that entire documentary series, and so I saw Vince throughout the years. He's never had a mustache before, so
never
it's like
had a beard.
It's like he's just all like, now's the time. Now's the time to do this.
You know what he should have done when he went to court with that tiny mustache? He should have also busted out the red bow tie that he used to wear when he was ringside announcer, just so we all could be like, what kind of look are you going for here, man? It's just like him throughout the ages.
No one with a mustache that bad could be an evil man.
Hey.
Well, welcome back, however you wish to self-identify, to Nothing Movies, where we ask the question, the fuck is on Vince McMahon's face?
Yeah.
It's the podcast where we go through an actor's filmography and choose the most anonymous and culturally untalked about movies that they've made and decide whether or not they've got a certain something or if they're just a whole lot of nothing. I'm Kaz Lesgard.
And I'm Jameson Rafter.
And welcome to the end of yet another WrestleMania!
Gone but not forgotten.
We're not forgotten because we're gonna keep doing it.
That's right.
This train will never end. Yes, this is the 1 month of the year on the podcast where we stop talking about the careers of actors and we talk about the film careers of wrestlers. And we look at them in movies and we try to determine whether or not they're any good at acting. Because as we all know, the one thing that no professional wrestler can do is lie. They're very bad at it. Yeah. Can't be done.
No, they can't lie, but they can perform in kayfabe. So
yes,
is that truly a lie, or is that them embodying a character?
I just want there to be like a tag team group of wrestlers where it's all like, one of us lies and one of us tells the truth. I don't know. Right. And we're wrapping things up today with 1986's Body Slam. But before we get to that, Jameson, we have some business.
Oh.
We have an induction, if you will.
Yes, of course.
For years now, on the podcast, we have discussed the concept of Nothing Movies Hall of Fame. And that is reserved for only the finest actors who continue to appear in movies that we are covering on this show.
If they've made multiple appearances, if they made a handful of appearances, which I always assume is 5, if they made 5 appearances, they're getting inducted.
Five is the limit that we've decided. Five gets you in the Hall of Fame. And recently I sat down with all of our episodes and I scrolled through IMDb and I took a look at all of the actors that appeared in the movies. And I made the comprehensive notes app of everyone that has appeared in more than one movie. A lot of people in the number 2 category, but when I leveled it up and did all of the math, we were left with 3 names, 3 actors who have appeared in 5 episodes that we have covered on this podcast. I'm not going to go in order of when they were inducted. The most recent inductee, of course, is Whoopi Goldberg, who, a bit of a cheat in the sense that we did do a literal trilogy of films on her, but also before that we did an episode on the film The Telephone, and most recently she snuck into the Five Timers Club with her cameo in Alan Smithy film Burn Hollywood Burn.
That's true, yeah.
The first inductee,
Danny Trejo?
It is Danny Trejo,
right,
who appeared in our very first episode, Reach Me. And then the third inductee of the Hall of Fame is Canada's own Shannon Tweed, who we weirdly have covered.
All WrestleManias.
They're all of the other episodes that Shannon Tweed has appeared in have all been WrestleMania episodes. And making his way into the Five Timers Club today, someone we've loved talking about. Someone we've adored every time we've gone to speak about him.
Pretty much the patron saint of WrestleMania themes.
He was on the very first WrestleMania episode we ever did. It was him. He was the focus. Yep. And as you pointed out, even though we've covered him this many times, we've never really delved into his career before.
No, or his filmography, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is extensive, to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about wrestlers that have become actors, he was perhaps the first that took that foray into it, and he really took a shot at a real run at it. And I think for the longest time, he did have the longest filmography of a wrestler.
I think he might still.
You don't think Dwayne Johnson has eclipsed him by now?
Possibly. See, okay, here's the thing, is I ran down his IMDb. You all know who we're talking about.
We're talking about Roddy Piper, goddammit.
Saskatoon's own Roddy Piper.
We're back in the Piper's pit.
Inducted into the Hall of Fame. Come on down, Roddy. Come on down to the stage. I'm being handed a note.
You're going to mention that he's dead?
He's been dead for quite a while. He's been dead for over a day. He's been dead the entire time we've been doing this podcast.
Yeah, sadly, he never saw himself inducted into the Nothing Movies Hall of Fame, yeah.
But here is his only living relative. No, I won't even go there. The hell was I going to say? Roddy Piper. Going down his filmography, I counted 46 film credits.
Wow.
I think there's possibly more than that. And that, of course, isn't counting all of the TV work, all of the voice acting work that he did. It's really
all the instances where he's playing himself.
Well, those I didn't count.
Okay.
If he's playing himself, or he's playing Roddy Piper in the thing is everything that WWE has done is credited on IMDb as a character.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, I had to be judicious, and I had to edit that out of the final list, and the number I ended up with was 46, give or take. But yes, Roddy Piper, the newest member of the Five Timers Club.
I could have sworn he was already in there because he had a
That's
run
why we had to do this movie. We had to bump him up.
We had a ring of 3 years for every WrestleMania he made an appearance.
Yeah.
And I think it was okay, we missed him 1 year, but we got him back for the next year. And we didn't do him last year, but now he's made his triumphant return.
He's made it now.
Yeah.
So he's in the Five Timers Club. Who will be next?
Ooh.
Who will be the next actor to join the lofty Five Timers Club on Nothing Movies?
Whether by chance or by intention on our part.
Indeed. Will it be Rutger Hauer?
Oh.
Will it be Mark Hamill?
Ooh.
Will it be Eric Idle, also getting that Burn Hollywood Burn bump?
Ah, yes.
Or will it be the one that you and I are both rooting for, the Grubbinator, Gary Grubbs,
Gary Grubbs.
who recently got inducted into the Four Timers Club, as you pointed out, because you did the research, you did the work, you hit the books.
Yeah, on a whim, I checked out his IMDb to see if maybe there was something noteworthy, figuring we might have to talk about him again someday. And not only did I learn that he's been on pretty much every TV show you can think of, he was actually in a movie we covered before he was even on our radar. Unbeknownst to us, he was in one of my favorite bad movies, 1990, The Bronx Warrior, as
a cop or something. You even found a photo of him, so confirmed. Grubbs confirmed.
Yeah, where he was young, dumb, and full of grubs.
Here's the thing. though, is that we can't force Grubbs. As much as I want him to be the next in, it has to be like the chaperone where neither of us knew that he was in that. We had to let Grubbs happen naturally.
Right.
Yeah, we can't force Grubbs.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
We can force one of the other ones, but like Grubbs has to happen like organically.
You really thought this out, didn't you? Like you had many a sleepless nights thinking about this.
I just never thought when we decided to do an episode on a Sunday horse. That we
the most notable and legacy thing that would come out of it was this one character actor.
This lovely man, this lovely Southern man who just shows up in everything.
And who's had like a decades-long career. Yeah.
Also, his name is Gary Grubbs. I mean, come on. You can't not have fun with that.
But we're not talking about Gary Grubbs today. We're talking about Roddy Piper.
We're talking about our boy.
Yeah.
All right, you're the wrestling expert, so you gotta be.
Let's not get that
There's like
there.
a 6-year...
Look, I'll tell you this much. He was one of the greatest wrestling heels of all time. He was Hulk Hogan's eternal nemesis. He wrestled Hulk Hogan with Paul Orndorff and Mr. T at WrestleMania 1, which he lost. He went to WrestleMania 2, where he boxed Mr. T and was disqualified by giving him a body slam in the middle of WrestleMania.
I mean, that is the name of his debut movie, so that checks out.
Yeah, and it was a good thing that he lost all those matches because the company needed to prop up Hulk Hogan. And, you need the perfect bad guy to do that, and Piper was the best bad guy of that era. And luckily, Piper was the kind of character that never needed a lot of wins to go over well with the crowd. He was still a credible threat, but also, he was quick on his feet, he was charismatic. He was like the Joker or Loki, A villain that in many ways outshined the hero and still have their own contingent of fans. So one of the things that he's best known for were his interview segments, Piper's Pit, where in a time of the 80s where they weren't toying with the idea of breaking kayfabe, he was sort of instrumental in facilitating and carrying on feuds between wrestlers by getting in their face, talking trash about them, saying, so-and-so says this, are you too much of a coward to go and face them at SummerSlam or what have you? That's what his main contribution was.
Just for me anyway, just for coming from his legacy that I know from his film and TV appearances and everything, it's so crazy. I mean, again, I am aware, even more so now after watching Mr. McMahon, about the appearances that pro wrestlers have to keep up, the idea of kayfabe, of not breaking the illusion of the world that they're trying to present here. It's always wild to consider that Roddy Piper was known as one of the great wrestler heels, because ever since I became aware of him, I've always known that he's like one of the most beloved people in all of wrestling. Just like
absolutely
the nicest guy that no one ever had a bad word to say about.
In many ways, the guy who reached out and helped out the young up-and-comers, understood the assignments, was never afraid to win a match in a dirty fashion if that would cement himself as a bad guy, lose an important match. Like, he understood the work, and yeah, that was just exactly what the company really needed. And yeah, he was just one of those wrestlers that the other wrestlers looked up to as like an example on here's how you can make a career in something like this. And I think I had briefly mentioned that he was one of the first wrestlers to branch out outside of wrestling to sort of use wrestling as a springboard to do something else. Had middling success.
Let's talk about that. I mean, the thing with Roddy Piper is that he is primarily known for one movie. Even though he did about 50 of them, but still, you could
I would argue that one role is probably the most significant role a wrestler has ever done.
Well, it's one of the first times that if not the first time a professional wrestler got cast as the lead actor in a non-wrestling based movie. So yeah, he definitely paved the way because of that. But before all of that, I'll get to his very first credit. His first credit is uncredited, but I will bring it up because it is wrestling related. His first credit on IMDb is the 1978 Carl Reiner film, The One and Only.
Okay.
Which is a film in which Henry Winkler is convinced by Hervé Villachez to become a wrestler.
Okay.
Piper plays Leatherneck Joe Grady. And there are cameos from wrestlers like Hard Boiled Haggerty and Chavo Guerrero Sr.
Oh. Don't know those guys. It's a little before my time.
I know Chavo Guerrero because the Mountain Goats have a song about him.
Oh, really?
The Mountain Goats did an entire album that's all about wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's pretty good.
Nice.
But his proper film debut is today's topic, Body Slam.
Mm-hmm, yep.
That's his first time in front of the camera. Well, not in front of the camera, but like he's third billed in the movie. He's got prominent supporting role. In terms of like the wrestlers in the movie, he's definitely a number one. 1988 is the year of his significance in films. With the most significant, of course, being They Live, the John Carpenter classic, where he plays the role of Nada. Who gets magical sunglasses and can see the aliens who are controlling everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those great sci-fi movies that, I think people wrongly, just assume, like, oh, it's more relevant now than it was when it first came out.
No, it's still relevant then.
The reason that is because nothing's changed.
If anything, the aliens...
It's gotten a little worse. Like, we're a little bit more pro-capitalist. And,
if anything, the aliens aren't even disguising themselves anymore. They're not even bothering to hide behind stuff.
Yeah. Advertising's anywhere, everything's got a subscription service to it.
Like, you could literally walk out today and see a billboard that just says, Consume!
Consume, and you're like, yeah, all right.
And like, you
got it, Mars Bar.
You wouldn't blink your eye. I could go for a Mars Bar. But also the same year that he does They Live, he also does Hell Comes to Frogtown, which I guess is his second most known role.
Have you seen that movie?
I haven't, but I've always wanted to.
That's a watch. That's a recommend from old Jameson right there.
It's called Hell Comes to Frogtown. He plays a character whose last name is Hell. He goes to a place where there are frogs.
Well, he specifically goes to a place where there are frogs because in this sort of Planet of the Apes knockoff, the world has been overtaken by mutated, evolved frog people. Roddy Piper is the last virile man on Earth, and the frogs have kidnapped a bunch of sexy ladies in lingerie.
It's the role he was born to play.
Yeah.
I wonder how they twisted his arm into taking that one.
I wonder who Green lit that one.
Okay.
Well,
all right. 1991, a previous episode, Tag Team, where he tried to bust into television, a long-running series, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
It only lasted as a pilot, but we've already talked about that. We
right.
don't need to go into that again.
Well, we did find that there was that interview that he and Ventura had done where they were talking about it, and there was, it seemed to have a decent enough formula for like a comedic show.
Well, it's a cop show, so of course it's the formula is there. Every episode they do another case.
Yeah, and
that's why there's so many goddamn cop shows.
And they're just kind of wistful at our lives would have been totally different if we had a TV show to commit to. And it's like, I don't know how much of a commitment that would be, but yeah, Ventura certainly wouldn't have gone into politics.
I suppose
Butterfly effect and all that.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I feel like because by 1991 he had already starred in Predator, so he was already friends with Arnold. So I have to imagine they had like discussions on the chopper about like waste management plans and what they would do if they were in charge. But then, after this, I'm only going to highlight a couple of other films. He does 2 films with Billy Blanks as his co-star. 1994's Back in Action and 1995's Tough and Deadly.
Nice. That's a double feature. You can probably get that on one DVD at the discount aisle.
I wouldn't be surprised. I also wouldn't be surprised if that was either of those were a future episode
or free on YouTube.
You know what? I'm put
money on it.
I'm going to assume that they're all you're able to watch them right now. You can watch them immediately after you're done listening to this episode.
Yeah, but not before.
And not during. Also in 1994, he's in a movie called Immortal Combat, where he appears to fight a bunch of zombie ninjas.
Yeah.
Sonny Chiba and Tiny Lister are also in this.
Okay.
That may also be a future
one.
episode.
Yeah. So we're not done with Roddy Piper yet.
1995.
He's the gift that'll keep on giving for WrestleMania.
1995, previous episode, No Contest. He plays Ice.
Yep.
Henchman to Andrew Dice Clay, Ice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one of our favorite movies.
One of our favorite movies that we've ever discussed. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm going to stop, Jameson.
Oh, really? Not going to go over Billy Owens' sequel?
He was, in fact, in a previous episode, The Mystical Adventures of Billy Owens, and whatever sequel. Billy Owens and the and the stick of wisdom, or whatever the fuck it is. But look, every film he makes from this point on went straight to video, and all of them are the schlockiest thing that you have ever seen.
Yeah.
And I could go through all of them. I could run through the plots of some of them. I could run through the cast members of some of them. That would kind of take forever.
Sure.
And, as I mentioned, there's a wealth of potential future episodes here.
Okay.
That we could do. So I don't necessarily want to, play our hand too early.
Gotcha.
This is, of course, not going into all of the television work that he did.
So much TV.
He did so many episodes on of various TV shows. Probably most notably his 2-episode arc on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it was an arc. I think it was like a couple of seasons apart.
Sorry, it wasn't an arc. Yes, it wasn't. It wasn't like the Roddy arc or whatever. Yes, he showed up twice.
Yeah, he played the Maniac, a sort of struggling independent wrestler. Very much a parody of Mickey Rourke's The Wrestler. And the guys on Always Sunny, they've talked on their podcast of just like how much of an absolute sweetheart Roddy Piper was, and very happy to do it and actually coach them a little bit on, here's how you should do these moves in the ring. So yeah, what a lovely man.
He also did a lot of voiceover work as well. He was in a Green Lantern animated movie. He was on an episode of Adventure Time where he reunited with Keith David, and they sort of recreated their They Live fight as a couple of fire warriors.
Okay. Yeah, that fight's kind of unique in that it just keeps going.
It just keeps going and going and going. The most recent time I rewatched They Live, I have to admit, I thought the fight was longer. Like I thought like the legend is that like the fight is like 10 minutes of like unbroken fight. It's about 6 or 7 minutes, which is still a long fight.
I think it's more so that just when you think the fight is finished, they keep going.
Yeah.
It's that it's longer than it should be.
Yeah. Pretty incredible stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I think he's also done like a couple of voices on Robot Chicken and all that.
Oh, sure, but who hasn't?
Yeah, I've done a voice on Robot Chicken.
But like the question is like, who did he do? It's like it's always,
probably himself.
Probably himself, but they always do like something weird or whatever. Like Roddy Piper probably played like, I don't know, like Megatron or something. Like you always look up like people's like IMDb and it's like Sarah Michelle Gellar played Rainbow Bright or like whatever. It's always like the weirdest stuff that you never would imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, the last thing, I mean, during all of that, I was just cursory doing like some last minute review thing on Piper here. Just other things that I thought maybe are kind of notable of the guy. He's the first wrestler to ever have his entrance music played by a live band, which would just been like a chorus of bagpipe guys in Madison Square Garden.
Which somewhat kind of ties into today's movie.
Hey, I didn't even think of that, actually. Yeah. Do you know who Ronda Rousey is?
Of course.
Okay. Do you know that she had a stint in WWE after she was kind of exposed as not that good of a MMA fighter?
Sure, briefly, yeah. Wait, so she was exposed as... I thought she was exposed as a not very good wrestler. People think she's not a good MMA fighter? That's what she's known for.
Well, she was a champion, for sure. And then she just got her clock cleaned very handedly by, like, another fighter.
Yeah.
Anyways, she had like a stint at WWE right afterwards, as like most, crossover athletes like that would. She was very heavily influenced by Roddy Piper. She considered him a hero. As her star started to rise, they finally got to meet in person. She's a guest on her podcast. And when he heard that she was going into wrestling and that she was such a fan, he said, well, you know what? Like, would you like the moniker Rowdy? Her friends had called her Rowdy Ronda Rousey.
You already got the R alliteration there, so yeah.
So when she was in wrestling, not only did she have like all the Roddy font, not only did she walk out in like a plaid skirt. After his death, his son donated Piper's jacket to Ronda for her to do the walkout to. So like, what a guy! To take like,
and now it just sits in her closet collecting dust.
I suppose, but like,
because when was the last time anyone heard from Ronda Rousey?
But what a guy to like build up this character for decades. And then just say like, well, hey, this has been very good to me. And if you want to take up my mantle, go right ahead. Because I couldn't ask for a better person to carry on the legacy.
Wow.
I thought that's kind of cool.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
How did Ronda Rousey do in the WWE?
She didn't have a long run.
Nah. So not a great MMA fighter, not a great wrestler, and certainly not a good actor.
I mean, probably better on all three of those fronts than I could possibly be, but...
I mean, no, Ronda Rousey absolutely will kick our asses.
Yeah.
Sure, I mean, that's... That's not up for question currently right now. I'm just saying, like, is she good at the things that she claims that she's good at?
Mm-hmm. For a time, she probably was.
Did you ever check out her podcast?
No.
Well, maybe she's amazing at that.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. Certainly better than us.
That's another thing she's great at.
Damn it.
That's another thing she beats us at. God damn it. All right, well, we'll take a little break, and when we come back, it's time to body slam.
Yeah.
Body slam.
Oh, I forgot to look up the soundtrack to this.
It's mostly just variations on it. There's like 3 different songs in this movie that are all called
Body Slam. So set that playlist, folks.
This movie might have had a soundtrack tie-in if it was released at all. We'll get into it. All right. We're back. All right. 18. What?
Nothing. I thought you were gonna go. We're back. We're back.
Back. I fucked it up, didn't I?
That's all right.
All right. Well, we just move forward here.
We're back. We're back. Body slam.
We've been back. We've been back so many times you can't even fucking count now. Body slam. It is directed by Hal Needham, a director we've already covered before, a director of previous episode, The Villain.
Yeah.
So we've already covered his career.
Yep.
So rather than going to his filmography, I wanted to just briefly talk about the behind the scenes on the movie Body Slam, because
fuck yeah.
it sounds even more tempestuous than what was on screen. Like it seems like there was some actual fighting outside of the ring that they pretended to fight in.
Okay.
Like
that might come across in
that might come across in the sentence that I just said. All right. So yeah, directed by Hal Needham. The 2 credited screenwriters for this movie are Shel Litton and Steve Burkow, who the internet tells me were both lawyers who had never written a screenplay before. And of course, this movie loves lawyers. But
this is a great sign already. This has money laundering operation written all over it.
I look, I don't want to disparage the man, but I do take a look at Hal Needham's filmography, and I do sort of wonder if he didn't maybe do a couple of money laundering films.
Yeah.
The Villain kind of felt like a money laundering film at times. But anyway, according to the internet ticker here, during the filming of the movie, the majority of the script was rewritten by Hal Needham and lead actor Dirk Benedict, not to the delight of these 2 men, of these 2 screenwriters, and they actually got litigious, and they brought a lawsuit against the filmmaker and the actor while they were filming the movie,
that's great.
which led to several altercations, including a moment where apparently Dirk Benedict shoved one of the lawyers in the hallway, and they got into like an actual kind of like brawl
in the hall.
A brawl in the hall,
yeah.
and Hal Needham had to pull them away. There's like a bunch of other look, I'm no stranger to talking about IMDb trivia on this podcast here. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff on the trivia page for this movie that is if it were any other movie and if there were any other cast that we were talking about,
be too outrageous.
I would raise my eyebrow and be all like, I wonder if that actually happened. But for example, I'll read this one. Axe the Cannibal, one of my favorite characters in the entire movie, took advantage of free drinks in the hotel bar one night and refused to leave. The police were called, which caused the cannibal to go into a drunken rage and beat up some of the officers. Oh no, I'm sorry. This says best up some of the officers. That's what it says. He was arrested and jailed until his wife bailed him out.
All right.
Yeah, so there was choppy waters going on here. And because of the lawsuit, the film only saw a theatrical release in Arizona. Everywhere else, it went straight to home video.
Okay.
So this technically is Hal Needham's final theatrical film.
No, really?
But only in the state of Arizona.
So how do you think he would describe that? He was like, oh yes, I have all these wide releases.
I'm sure he was.
And my final film was X. And he's like, oh, no, your final film actually in the state of Arizona was this thing called Body Slam.
And lest we forget, as we mentioned on the previous episode, the villain, his first film was a little joint called Smokey and the Bandit.
Right, yeah.
The second highest grossing film of 1977. So, like, he made hits. He made bona fide hits.
Yeah.
He made movies that made tons of money at the box office. They weren't masterpieces. But they made bucks.
No, and he was like the stunt movie guy. So like I guess the line of thinking was, well, there's going to be a ton of fighting in this movie. So yeah, we'll have to get the guy who knows how to stage and organize that. And what he did was he just set up a tripod overlooking the entire ring and just let it run uninterrupted.
That's how it works, right?
That's how it works, yeah.
It's very funny. There's a line in this movie. I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but there's a line that I think like a ring announcer says in this movie where it's all like, this will tarnish the good name of wrestling for like the next like 1,000 years.
It'll set wrestling back 1,000 years or something.
And it's like, how little did they realize at the time that like what they pull off in this movie basically is what wrestling would evolve into?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. It's tipping its hat to the eventual phenomenon of rock and wrestling, which was when when wrestling started getting into the mainstream, they brought in actual celebrities like Cyndi Lauper and Muhammad Ali and all these other people that, had grown up as fans, but they were like, hey, can we use your star power to actually give us a bit of a boost to legitimize us a little bit more? So yeah, this is what inspired the idea for Body Slam.
So before we dive into the movie, since you brought it up, can we talk a little bit about the concept of rock and wrestling?
Sure.
So rock and wrestling as it's presented in this movie is the fact that our main character is staging a wrestling match that also is a rock concert.
Yeah.
But I was always familiar with the phrase rock and wrestling from the Saturday morning cartoon Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling.
Yep.
Which
that's where they got the name from.
Until it actually does predate. It predates this movie by 1 year, which I had always been familiar with. I had never seen an episode of until this morning, which I watched. I watched on YouTube while I was eating my breakfast. It's quite bad.
Oh no, you don't say.
You don't say. What I didn't realize, and this is maybe me being a bit naive on my part, but we're no stranger to the concept of the celebrity Saturday morning cartoon. There were a whole bunch of them, especially in the 80s. Mm-hmm. But to the best of my recollection, I feel like the celebrities often voiced themselves. So I was under the assumption that Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling
was all the wrestlers voicing themselves?
Was all the wrestlers voicing themselves, but little did I realize, no, all of them are voiced by voice actors. Hulk Hogan is voiced by Brad Garrett.
Huh.
And Roddy Piper, the show, for anyone who hasn't seen it, so everyone who's listening to this, is it's like the good wrestlers versus the bad wrestlers, and Hulk Hogan leads the good wrestlers, and Roddy Piper is the main villain of the series, and he leads the heels. Roddy Piper is voiced by Charles Adler, who most people probably remember as Buster Bunny from Tiny Toons Adventures.
Oh, okay.
Ickis from Ah Real Monsters. A very distinct, noticeable voice actor who has a very unique voice that you recognize almost immediately.
Who sounds nothing like Piper.
Not at all the first person I would have picked for Rowdy Piper. He's pulling it back a bit. He's not going like this. But like he's doing like his I'm a tough guy. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, I think that's just because when you were doing those kind of voice projects, you got to have like these voice actors who have a Swiss Army knife of other voices they can do.
For sure.
So he probably voiced like 5 other characters, and that's why they got him. Not because he's a good sound-alike, but we have like an entire 15 character cast that we need to do, and this guy's got 5 voices in him.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So Body
Slam.
Body Slam. Let's get into it.
A movie that I've wanted to cover and watch like forever now. So like I fell in love with this trailer. I thought like, oh, look at this super cheesy, super slimy 80s dumb sex comedy.
And it is all of those things. Let me tell you, and some, and
also none of it.
More.
Yeah. So it opens with Dirk Benedict, Harry Smilak, driving around in his red 80s Corvette down Beverly Hills or what have you.
Yeah, because if you're in Beverly Hills and you're a hotshot wheeling dealing business manager or he's a manager. What's the word for it?
Oh, isn't
entertainment manager?
Yeah, like a music agent.
Yeah. You got to have the red Corvette with the top down and everything. I mean, like, this movie
and the
is
cord car phone and everything. And
so the very first thing that happens in this movie is Dirk Benedict, Harry Smilak,
cruising down Beverly Hills, listening to Body Slam, that 80s pop rap that.
Everyone was listening to it.
Number one jam of the summer. That one.
Number one jam of 1986. He pulls up at a light, and there's a smoking hot bikini babe who's just sitting there on the corner.
Just chilling on the side of, like, a brick wall or something.
I mean, she must have been relatively close to the beach to be dressed like that, I have to assume. I don't know, maybe in the 80s there were just bikini babes everywhere. I would believe it. But he pulls up, and he sees her, and he starts making eyes at her, and then she's like, she's not interested. So then he pulls the old, like, oh, hold on, I'm getting a call on my car telephone. And when I say he says hold, he literally puts like one finger up. And he's all like, wait a minute.
Yes. Why, yes, Mr. Spielberg. I did see your script, and I do have some notes.
And then the babe starts walking over, and he thinks he's sealed the deal, but no, her friends have shown up, and she's not paying any attention to him at all. So Harry Smilak is our hero.
Our very unlikable hero.
He's a real piece of work. We're really forced to root for this guy, I assume.
A very unlikable guy, and he's written to be a charming scoundrel type guy, but there's no charm to this guy whatsoever, and he's just a liar, and he's superficial, and he'd be the bad guy in any other 80s comedy.
I don't think it's meant to be one for one, but correct me if I'm wrong, is he not meant to kind of be Vince McMahon?
Ooh, possibly.
I mean, obviously he's not Vince McMahon grew up in like a wrestling family, so obviously he didn't fall into it the way that this character does. But in terms of like the promoter with like the fancy suit and like the big cigar and everything.
Well, because like Vince started out as, like, as far as people knew, just the ring announcer and the commentator, whereas this is a story of like someone who becomes a wrestling manager.
By accident.
By accident, yeah. And in the sense of like how people manage talent and not like how actual wrestling managers work in actual pro wrestling.
That becomes very apparent as the film goes on, that he really has no idea what he's doing at all.
Yeah, and this movie treats pro wrestling managers like they're typical sports agents. You know, just like negotiating contracts on behalf of their clients.
Whereas, managers, who I've always considered to be a lost art in pro wrestling, are just the people that tend to do the trash talking for the wrestlers that aren't really good at it.
Right.
They don't actually sign the contract. They don't actually book the matches. They're just there to be on the sides of the apron, supporting their guy and maybe, pulling out a dirty trick on the guy they're opposed to.
Sure.
And there were some great legendary wrestling managers like Bobby the Brain Heenan, Mr. Fuji, Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South.
Past guest and friend of the podcast, Mike Kovac.
Mike Kovac, yeah. There's like a laundry list of people that can just like embody like a real off-the-wall character without, the risk of getting into the ring.
Well, in that respect, he fails miserably because he does none of those things. But the thing with this movie is that it was released at a time when no one was really aware of the concept of kayfabe. Everyone was under the assumption that wrestling was like 100%.
Like a real sport, and the people who were in the know of like, this is fake. And when they call someone an idiot for believing this is real, they thought that they had a point to make. Yeah, that they were making a point.
And of course, we should reiterate that we are not saying that wrestling is fake.
No.
It is absolutely a sport. But it's sports entertainment.
Yes, yeah.
So it's
a stunt show.
It's a sport that involves a fiction as part of it, which is what makes it so unique from all other sports that exist in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. It's about the journey, not the destination with this.
Sure, that's what I was trying to get across.
So Harry Smilak, he was like a hotshot recording producer at a time.
So he says.
Yeah, but we're seeing almost right away that he's really down on his luck. The minute he pulls up to his car, it gets repossessed by a guy posing as a valet. His lawyer won't take up any of his cases for like the repossession or unpaid bills or what have you.
We get a hint into somewhat of his womanizing philandering ways when he sits down with his lawyer and he opens his briefcase to get all of his like tax documents out, he pulls out a fancy negligee. Whoops, I'm just walking around with ladies' underwear.
And a squeak toy?
Sure. Hey, don't kink shame Jameson.
No, of course.
Right?
No,
yeah, absolutely. It was the 80s. They were all into sort of different things here.
So his lawyer says that, like, I can't keep bailing you out on this kind of stuff, Harry. But hey, tell you what, I'm the co-finance chair of a guy running for governor, and we need someone to book the entertainment for, like, a campaign event, and you're the first guy I thought of.
And stupid me, when this happened, I'm all like, is this the plot of the movie? And it's like, no, this is like the third subplot that wraps up, like, before the movie's even halfway over.
Yeah, it's
like,
Act 1.
It's just a speed bump that he has to, like, get over here. I mean, him doing the thing introduces him to the female lead of the movie, but outside of that, there's really no reason to do that. He could have gone straight to being a wrestling promoter.
Pretty much.
For all that this affects the plot.
Yeah, it's set up like a chance encounter at, like another booking agent's place that got the ball rolling on this. But yeah, there's our setup. You know, there's like some guy running for governor, and Harry's got to find an act for his efforts.
And Harry doesn't like him. He doesn't like the guy who's running for governor.
Nobody likes this governor.
He says, like, I have, I have some scruples. I don't agree with this guy, so don't worry about it. And then, of course, a bunch of stuff happens to him, and he has to go crawling back to his lawyer, and he has to do the thing to begin with.
Yeah. Were we just going to gloss over that kind of stuff?
No. We'll go over it because, he's gotten
he storms out of the office, and, like, now that he doesn't have a car, he has to go get another one. So he goes to, like, this British import place, and he sees...
John Aston.
John Aston. Gomez Adams himself.
I love him. I love the guy. I'm always so happy to see him. Every time I see John Aston in something, I'm delighted to remember that he's still with us. He's still kicking.
Really?
Yeah, he's still out there.
Oh,
yeah. I don't know how many faculties he has left, but, you know, he's still going. He's still going. He's still doing it.
Keep on trucking, Mr. Adams.
I love it. He plays Scotty, a car dealer, and I just feel like this is like the biggest cliche in the world. Whenever you have like this of these movies about like these wheeling dealing characters or whatever, Smilac pulls into. Well, he gets like he hops on the back of someone's bicycle who takes him to. The dealership. The dealership, and as he jumps off, the guy says, "Oh, you look a lot bigger on screen, Mr. Eastwood," which is a very dumb LA joke. Dirk Benedict doesn't look anything like Clint Eastwood, but whatever. We're moving on from that.
He steps foot onto the lot, and John Aston's just like, "Nope, absolutely,
no,
whatever it is, I'm not interested."
And it's all like that's called screenwriting shorthand.
Yeah,
that's right. You know that this guy is no good.
Yeah, we made sure to check that box. And he's like, well, hey, I just came by to give you tickets to a Bruce Springsteen concert. And hey, we got these 2 Vegas showgirls to go with it. But hey, that car that you're going to drive back to the guy I know.
My landlord.
My landlord. Well, hey, I'm going there anyways. Tell you what, hold on to the tickets. I'll take it. And so he drives off the lot with the car. He commits a fucking crime.
His first of many.
First of many. That's the thing about this guy. Like, we quickly find out when he gets to his like beachfront house that he is greatly in debt with.
Well, you forgot the button of the Bruce Springsteen concert joke, because as he drives away in his landlord's car, John Aston looks at the tickets, and instead of Bruce Springsteen, they say the Jewish Yodeling Festival, which is a real Mad Libs of a joke or whatever. But honestly, after I stopped being mad about the Springsteen thing. I kind of wouldn't mind checking that out. I'd be interested to see
somewhere to be.
What makes it different from a regular yodeling festival?
I know, right?
Yeah, that's the main thing I want to find out is how do they bring Judaism into it?
Yeah, well, yeah, but you can't wait.
It's just like
let's see this, Kaz.
Shalom Aleichem. There we go.
All right, Adam Sandler.
That?
Jesus,
how you like that? There you go, off the dome.
So he goes. So he goes to his beach house, and he's confronted by Mr. Kim, who is a collections officer from this Korean bank.
Yes, and you know his ethnicity because before he even steps on, there's a stereotypical Asian gong.
Yeah,
that's just here.
He speaks in flawless English.
Yeah, and when he says like we have a saying in Korea, and then he says like no pay, no play. I could have sworn one of the words he said was kimchi. So I think they just gave him like nonsense words to say or whatever.
Yeah.
But yes, he's a Korean loan shark who of course is played by a Japanese actor.
That's right.
Because that's how that works.
And they keep misidentifying him as like Japanese, Chinese. It's like, no, I'm Korean. That poor man.
That poor dude. Whatever. I'm sure he got paid well. And he has two burly, muscly
goons.
Who also are clearly wrestlers. I looked these guys up. They're part of the wrestling dynasty that includes like Roman Reigns and Yokozuna and everything.
And Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson, a big wrestling family that's just
huge,
like passed down for years, and they're all Maori descended. Yeah. So these guys show up. Yeah, so we got a Korean loan shark played by a Japanese actor, and his two goons who are played by two Maoris.
That's right.
Sure, we got a real melting pot of characters here.
It's like the UN over here.
Mr. Kim says you gotta pay me the money, and Harry Smilak says, "What if I don't?" And then they destroy his landlord's car.
Yeah, they rip the hinges off of it and everything, and so like that. I mean, that's the thing that I want to keep going back to with this is that Harry Smilak begins this movie owing a shit ton of money. And throughout this movie, he also blows a lot of money. And I'm just imagining, like, this guy is just getting himself further and further in debt.
Yeah, but he makes it all back in the end because they win the wrestling.
They win wrestling. Yeah.
And the only button on this scene is that there's a scene where he's in his office later, and the landlord is an unseen character, but we see him from behind. Going, Smilak, blah, 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 blah. And the
sounded like Yosemite Sam.
The picture's shaking on the wall. Yeah, exactly. So I guess that's not going to be a character. Yeah. We also never see John Aston again. So.
No, sadly, no. Yeah, so Harry Smilak goes to a booking director to just like find an act or what have you. And
he's 2 hours late.
He's 2 hours late.
For unspecified reasons.
Nope, just...
Because he's a shitty guy.
Well,
Can't even show up to a meeting on time.
He didn't have a car to get there.
I suppose that's true. I suppose that is true, yes.
This is where we meet Roddy Piper's character, Quick Rick Roberts. He's complaining about his payouts not being good enough at these venues.
Harry keeps bursting into the meeting. He keeps interrupting the thing, keeps saying it's all like, hey, I'm a manager. I can get you more money. Does he have t-shirt deals? Does he have concession deals?
Yeah, but based almost on nothing, he overhears Roddy say that he brings in like all these crowds, and he just automatically assumes that this guy must be a musician.
Right. He doesn't even consider... Well, because back then, like, wrestling was still fairly niche.
Sure.
Right? Like, it wasn't like the industry that it currently is right now.
I suppose that's a good point, because I'm thinking of like what else would you like need to book for venues like this? Like I don't know, like a speaking engagement or I don't know, like a fucking rodeo.
You can technically book engagements for literally fucking anything. I mean,
yeah.
There's a scene later on in this where like the same venue that he books a wrestling match at is the same place where they're artificially inseminating hogs.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, you can book a venue for anything, Jameson, really.
That's true.
If you got the time. We also meet Quick Rick's niece, Missy.
Yeah, Missy.
In this introductory scene where Harry sits down in the waiting room and...
there's this unaccompanied little girl next to him.
And he immediately starts saying like, hey there, little lady, what's your name? And she says...
My Uncle Ricky says old men who talk to little kids are perverts.
I love it when a movie answers the question that I'm immediately answering in my head.
Which is, why are you talking?
Why are you talking to a little girl?
Yeah.
Mind your own damn business. That's a weird fucking thing to do.
Yeah.
This little girl is played by an actress named Kelly Martin, who would grow up to be the voice of Roxanne in a Goofy movie.
Oh, okay.
Many a weird cartoon nerd's first crush. That weirdly attractive dog girl thing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what the 90s were all about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Weird anthropomorphic...
is this something you're into?
Is this...
If not, we got like a...
we got a hobo! Oh, man.
We got a sexy character with the surname Rabbit right in the corner. Oh, you mean Jessica Rabbit?
No, it's Bugs Bunny in drag.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Oh, no, I was thinking Lola Rabbit, or whatever the fuck her name was.
There's a lot of...
There's a lot of hot rabbits out there.
Jessica Rabbit, arguably more attractive than... Lola Rabbit. Also, it's Lola Bunny.
All right, let's start. We got to start.
Lola Bunny is the thing.
All right, join us next time when we're going to start our cartoon babe tier list.
Yes, join us next time for what is it? Smash or pass? That's what it is.
I don't need that. I don't need that shit on Mike.
Yeah.
So, anyways, back to this. Harry Smilak says like, "Hey, sign me as your agent. I'll treat you right." And Roddy Piper's like, "Sounds good. You're showing me more respect than this jerk off right here." So,
it's like you've known him for like 5 minutes, and he's shown you like the bare modicum of respect. And like, I guess it all works out for Roddy. He becomes like the champion by the end of it, but it's like. Maybe he could have had like a longer meeting with him, you know?
For sure.
He just immediately trusts this guy, who's a very untrustworthy guy.
Yeah, do you see him chatting up your little niece in the waiting room? Jesus. In the parking lot, they are accosted by, because I guess word gets around, but they are accosted by Roddy Piper's old manager, Captain Lou Marino, played by Captain Lou Albano.
They really had to work so hard. I bet anything that this character had a different name, but in like the earlier takes or whatever, it's like
Captain Lou Marino. Captain Lou Marino.
Or it's like, anytime they
Captain Lou Albano.
They had to change it so it was close enough to his actual name that he was able to. I'm just making a joke here. I mean, Captain Lou Albano has also had a long career in
one of the greatest.
Acting.
One of the greatest.
I mean, like, we don't even need to mention it. Everyone knows he was.
Hey, paisanos!
He was the first live action Super Mario,
and the greatest.
And you know what? And the greatest. When he played Mario, he knew who the character was. He knew what the source material was, and he didn't need alcohol to get through the shooting days. All right.
Take that, Bob Hoskins.
So Captain Lou shows up. I love that we can just call the character Captain Lou. That's literally the character's name.
Yeah. And it's literally the Captain Lou character.
Yes.
Who's just abrasive and vulgar and just a delight.
Oh, man. I want to start a retroactive Best Supporting Actor campaign for him for this movie. Because he's
playing himself.
Because he's delightful.
Oh, yeah.
Can I ask my most pressing Captain Lou Albano question?
Is it about the rubber bands?
What is on his face?
Rubber bands.
Rubber bands.
Yeah.
Explain. Why does he have... Because at first...
Why not?
Because at first I'm looking at it, and I'm like... Because we're watching this on like a transfer so like, you know, like the transfer's not great, because I can't really make it out. At first I thought he had like braided like one half of his mustache so that it like turned around into like a perfect loop.
Yeah.
But then the more I looked at it, it's like, did he like pierce his cheek?
I think they are piercings.
Like, but they're rubber band piercings?
I think so, yeah. They're not solid rings, no.
So he was just that kind of guy.
Yeah.
He was just all like, I gotta put rubber bands in my face.
Yeah, and
why did you do that? Shut up!
If you got a problem with it, you got a problem with me.
Did anyone ever like snap him?
I bet they tried.
I bet they tried, and they couldn't get close enough to him. Yeah.
So
how much do you think they had to convince him to take those out for Mario? Lou,
it's important for the character. Here's what he looks like, and for a while, that's why he was the highest paid actor in show business.
They just did a Cesar Romero. They just put like a ton of makeup over the rubber bands. He had them on the entire time.
Yeah. They taped him back.
I wasn't sure what that was, but I gotta tell you, I wasn't expecting the answer rubber bands.
Yeah. So he says that, like, you're a dead man, Smilak, for stealing my talent. And, you know, his henchgoon eats up Harry Smilak's business card or whatever.
That's okay, because he has unlimited business cards.
And I love...
Take a drink every time Harry Smilak gives his business card to somebody.
He also has his comically large cigar bent, which is not that impressive of a feat, but it's just enough
it's very easy to bend cigar. Yeah. That's something I can do.
Yeah. And then just say, like, we'll see you in the ring. And then they drive off in their fucking Cruella de Vil car. and this is when Harry Smilak, he realizes, I guess I'm managing a wrestler now, which I have no expertise on, but whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem to bother him all that much. No. Like, all he really does is turn to the camera and go, wrestling! And then I guess, like, a second later, he's all like, yeah, I can work with that.
Yeah, all right.
Why not? Yeah, we gotta have a movie here, right? Yeah.
So he goes to like this fundraiser investment meetup with a bunch of boosters for this governor, and they ask him, "All right, so tell us about your plan for the entertainment." And he says, "Like, well, I don't have so much of a plan, but I have a concept."
But what plans have you actually made?
Well, we're not just talking plans here; we're talking concepts.
And I'm just like, oh no.
And there are so many.
Is this where he got the idea from? The concepts of a plan?
Is that a reference to something?
That's a reference to something Trump said.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if this was Trump's favorite movie. And he like promises like a bunch of big names, but he doesn't say what the big names are. I was all like, I'm just gonna let it be a surprise.
No, what he says is like, oh, we'll have acts like, like Frank and Neil and Barbara. And they're like, Frank Sinatra and Neil Young? And
I mean, like, that could have been a joke if the film had like bothered to have him like go out and find other acts with those names.
Yeah.
And it's all like, no, I said, like, I told you, like, I got Frank and Barbara and Neil, and it was
hell,
like,
meet other wrestlers named Frank and Neil, right?
or something like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately what this builds to isn't much, but it is at this high society function that a certain lovely lady catches his eye, and this is Candice van der Wegen, played by Tanya Roberts, who people probably either know from the last season of Charlie's Angels or as Midge from that 70s show.
Right, yeah.
And she's not impressed with, she sees right through Harry, and she immediately calls him out for the scum that he is. But of course, by the end of the movie, they will be a romantic couple. Because that's how movies work.
That's how movies work, and that's just the kind of guy that Harry Smilak is.
Persistent and...
got sincerity coming out of my ass.
I mean... And this is jumping ahead, but like, yeah, he sort of like wines and dines her and stuff like that. And there's like a scene where she's like, oh, I like the sincere version of you. It's all like, there's a sincere version of him?
Yeah.
And he's showing that in this scene?
Yeah.
All right.
Meanwhile,
if you say so.
Meanwhile, he fakes a neck injury so she can drive him back to his place.
I think he has a neck injury, but I think he fakes that it's like a really bad neck injury.
He's like, oh, you got to get me to the jacuzzi. You got to get my clothes off. Yeah.
We're jumping way ahead.
Yeah, anyway.
So we're at a gym where Quick Rick is hard to say.
I know. Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper is working out, and we meet his tag team partner, who's the second wrestler that Harry Smilak signs. This is Tonga Tom, played by Sam Fatu, who is also part of that wrestling legacy.
Yeah.
Basically, if there's a wrestler and they're Maori, there's like an 80% chance that they're all related.
You're catching on. Part of the dynasty now.
And there's kind of like this one funny non sequitur thing where Harry gives Tonga Tom his business card, and Tonga Tom walks off with it, and then him and Roddy have a couple of lines, and then Tonga Tom comes back and says, "Nice business card." He gives it back to Harry, and I'm like, What's he doing? Did he need to go look at it under a different light?
Yeah,
What was the point of that?
He took a bite out of it to see if it was solid. This is the scene where we also meet, the Zangief brothers.
I love these guys.
They're great.
The second these guys showed up, I'm like, I am digging these guys' energy.
Yep.
These are the Cannibals.
The Axe and Hammer. And
played by Sion the Barbarian Villahi and Tom Kasat.
Yep. The first guy you mentioned, he was the Barbarian in WWF back in the day. These guys are just like the bully pros that are under Captain Lou's control and everything. And I just love how everything that they say is capped off with a with a burly kind of laugh.
They have very interesting haircuts where it looks like they look like polar opposite. It's not a mohawk. They like. Axe has had like a razor go down like different parts of his scalp,
except for the one,
so he has like two tufts on the sides of his head, and then a mohawk,
right?
And then Hammer has like the opposite haircut of that. It's like Hammer was bald. Yeah. They took that hair off of Axe's head and they transplanted it onto Hammer.
Yeah. One's got a beard, the other one has a handlebar mustache. What a drip these guys got going on.
Axe keeps doing this thing where like he's talking and then he just like flicks his head for like no reason, as if he has like hair in his face. And they're talking shit to Roddy, and then Roddy tells them off, and then one of them's all like, "Oh, he put 3 sentences together in a row. Oh, I didn't think he had it in him." Which I love these guys. That's very rich coming from them.
It's a dumb wrestling comedy.
Olivier, they are not in terms of
thespian
acting
skills.
Yeah, it's like casting Andre the Giant in something and then having him make fun of someone else's accent. But they beat up. Oh, they do some.
They have their first match and they win.
Their...
See, they have like one match. Like him taking on the management position of these guys seems like a very turnkey operation where like, hey, so long as this business is already set up, so long as you're in charge of it, it'll just print money on itself. You know, they already had like a match lined up. You know, they win, they get the payout. Hey, you got some success under your belt. And through that, Harry Smilock is invited onto the Vic Carson show.
According to Roddy, the #1 talk show on television.
Yes. Which I personally don't buy it, but...
but this is Ring Talk with Vic Carson, who is played by Charles Nelson Riley, a famous comedian from back in the day. Much like how Paul Lynde was in Hal Needham's other film, The Villain. He was also like a Hollywood Squares. He was a big Hollywood Squares guy, and he was also a comedian that never flaunted his homosexuality, but like everyone pretty much knew.
Yeah.
Like he came out when he was like in his 70s and he was ready to talk about it.
Yeah,
but it was just like, but
by then he was already like, you know, a well-established American comedian.
And
a regular on Match Game.
and a pop culture figure, like a familiar voice. He's the one that sounds like this.
Yeah,
if you've ever heard that voice in anything.
If you ever watched like a fucking Don Bluth animated movie from the 90s,
he's in All Dogs Go to Heaven. Yeah,
That's
he's
right.
in a bunch of them. Yeah. So yeah, he is the announcer of this talk
the
show,
host of
Ring Talk.
Yeah.
And we see the crowd, which is a real motley crowd, and
nuns, bikers, and
a very classic 80s thing to do where you have a group of people. You always want to throw in a couple of nuns.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah, good.
And they're
good
fans
crossover.
of Captain Lou, because when Captain Lou comes on the show, they all hold up signs.
Yeah.
Bless you, Lou.
Bless you, Lou.
And then one of them just has an exclamation mark.
Well, there were too many of them.
There were too many of them. Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to cover hosts today. And so we're going to have a seasoned pro. And we're going to have a specialist. And we're going to have the newcomer folks. That guy, yeah. How was that?
That was amazing. It was like I was watching the movie again.
It's like you were watching Match Game.
So Harry is on the show. He's on a panel with Captain Lou. And also Tim McCluskey, who is played by famed diminutive actor Billy Barty, who also we last saw in Burn Hollywood Burn, hanging out with one scene with Coolio. And
we didn't even talk about that.
No, we didn't, because there was so much to talk about in that movie.
You're right.
But he was also
oh my God,
there.
yeah.
But yeah, Billy Barty, a big advocate for little people rights. He like founded like a bunch of what's the word I'm looking for?
Charities?
Like
Foundations?
Foundations, yeah. He funded like a bunch of foundations basically to get like respect for like little people in the industry. Anyway, all this character does is call people the F slur, and it's great, and I love it. And
really,
and
no, you don't.
And let's move on.
Yeah,
let's not talk about this character ever again. It's really
short jokes. Also, like
he says it like 4 times.
Yeah, and
it's not,
and like there are people in the crowd that hold up signs with it. Like the 80s were a different time.
And look, I know he's playing a heel in this, but like it's not like there's no irony in any of these jokes.
No,
like it's the type of F slur where it's like, when they called cut, Hal Needham walked over to Billy Barty and was all like, "Great work, Billy. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
They're gonna love that in Arizona."
Yes.
But look, if you watch a movie from the 80s, you're probably gonna find some homophobia. You're just gonna have to deal with that. That's just part of the landscape of that era. I'm sorry.
Just put up with it, folks. I'm sorry.
I mean, you don't have to put up. You can shut it off and watch something else.
Sure.
But
I mean, for our purposes, we had to put up with it.
We did, unfortunately.
I did like the part where they're just about to sit down and they're playing like a little musical chairs to see who gets to sit closer to the host.
Yeah. I did like how Captain Lou helped Billy get in his seat.
Yes.
That was kind of nice.
Yeah.
But then he like shoves him off again.
Yeah. Well, their whole thing is that like, Harry Smilock isn't the face of wrestling. He's trying to change it for the worse. He has no business being in the business of pro wrestling.
He's not the face of wrestling. He's the face of the A-Team.
Well done.
Thank you.
Anyways, the interview segment ends with Captain Lou Albano tossing Harry Smilock over the ropes.
Yes, which is how he gets the thing on his neck, the neck brace, yeah.
Then the very next day, that's where he wines and dines Candace, and then tricks her into driving them back to his place.
So they're at like a drive-in diner, which like that would be so cool if like those came back.
Oh yeah,
I don't even drive a car, but that would be cool if they brought that to your car and they had like the little like things that like hooked onto your window, so you could like put the things on it or whatever.
There used to be one in Bellingham that my family and I frequented back in the day. Yeah, good times.
A lost art. But yeah, he tricks Candace into driving him home because he says like, I'm in so much pain, you just need to drive me home. And they're having like a midday lunch. And by the time she gets back to his beachside property, it's nighttime. Where does this guy live? He lives like an hour away from like downtown Beverly Hills.
Yeah, like...
and he frequently is without cars. So I don't know how he gets around.
That's why he was so late. He was 2 hours late to that meeting.
You know what, Jameson? We got it. We figured it out.
He lives like 2.5 hours up the coast. But yeah, they get back to the beach house. And I guess the collections guys, they just live there.
They come out of the same bush that they were in previously.
Wearing the same clothes.
Yeah. And I think Dirk Benedict even is all like
guys,
really? Like, again?
Yeah.
Even I find this ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we find out Mr. Kim does not have much respect for women because apparently in Korea, women don't talk about business dealings. I have a feeling like even in 1986, that was not true.
Right.
But I mean, I'm no expert on it, but whatever. Yeah. But now they destroy her mother's car.
Yep.
So now Harry's in deep doo-doo with the people that he's supposedly trying to organize this benefit concert for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. His lawyer convinces them to be like, hey, I'll give this guy one more chance. And he says to Harry, like, get us a fucking band at least. So
and that's when Harry remembers,
right,
I am the manager of a single band, aren't I?
40 minutes into this movie, we meet more characters. It's and
we're not even done yet. There's so many characters to come.
Yeah, we meet the band Kicks, which is just like this garage band of young punks that seem to only have one song. It's the American way. They have one.
They have a couple of different songs,
but they only ever play the one whenever they have shows.
Being an American,
something like that, yeah,
and something like that. And
the American Way, it's called.
Don't they also have a song called Body Slam? Or does Harry commission them to write a song called Body Slam?
They might be the only music act in this whole movie that doesn't have a song titled Body Slam.
But yeah, they're just like four people in this band, none of whom are played by anyone I recognize. But yeah, they're just the band, the rock and roll band that Harry happens to manage. And he's like, I guess if I've told all of these people that I've organized a musical act to show up at this benefit for this senator.
For this stuffy old senator.
I might as well, get, like, any band, the only band that I know.
Yeah.
And then immediate jump cut to the night of the event. I'm very...
there's some legal wiggle room out of that, where it's like, technically, there was a musical act.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to think of like all the missed jokes here or anything like that, where it's all like, all right, Kicks, you're about to go on. And also, by the way, for legal purposes, your name is Frank, your name is Barbara, or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
But
do you guys know how to play Fly Me to the Moon? You know?
But yeah, it's just sort of glossed over. And then, yeah, we get to like this stuffy benefit concert or whatever, and Kicks comes out, and there are all of like these...
The glam rock out and everything.
There's all like these photos of the senator on stage, and now Harry bears the brunt for sort of like this failure.
Technically, it's misleading investors.
That's true. I would say the actual concert itself, maybe not 100% Harry's fault. There were maybe a few more pyrotechnics that there needed to be.
Yes.
Because almost as soon as Kicks comes out on stage, the stage sets itself on fire.
Yeah, you can't even really get a good look at the band because there's so much sparks on
or even really hear what they're playing.
Yeah.
They just kind of like overdid it a bit.
For sure.
But this scene wraps up very quickly. One assumes someone's monocle fell off at one point in time.
This is highly irregular.
Oh, what is this? And we're moving on. because this movie fucking moves at a fast clip. We can't I thought this benefit thing was going to be a big deal, but apparently not. Apparently that subplot's over now.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much glossed over as like they blamed the misfortune of the event on commies, which is depicted in like this newspaper headline.
God, that happened so fast I didn't even catch that joke.
They mentioned that Harry had to return all of the money that the investors had supplied.
That's not good. He needs that money for the Korean why can't I think of words today? I already said the word.
The loan shark.
The loan shark. Thank you.
And to sort of avoid suspicion, Harry is now running around disguised as a woman.
So the loan sharks don't recognize him, and so all the people from the benefit don't recognize him. And he sneaks into the dressing room of Roddy and Tonga, dressed as a woman, and of course, like there's like the classic like, "Oh, excuse me, madam," and then it's revealed that it's Dirk Benedict, and Tonga's kind of into it. I don't know if that was an improvisation on his part or if that was a direction or whatever, but he's kind of into it. He kind of puts like a hand on a knee at one point. He's kind of all like,
yeah, he's cool with it.
Gives a little
Tonga Tom's
smile. Missy is also now apparently Harry's secretary.
Yeah,
she's taking all of his calls, even though we saw earlier he literally has a secretary. So I guess he had to let her go.
He can't afford her, so he's like skirting child labor laws now.
Sure. It's also like the classic like little kid thing where like she's Roddy Piper's niece. Never once is it explained.
Where are your parents?
Yeah, where are your parents?
Yeah,
exactly. And like later on in the movie, Roddy's like, "There's only two things I care about in life: that's wrestling and my little angel." It's all like, are you like her primary caretaker?
What happened to your brother and sister-in-law?
Yeah, was there
what's going on here?
Was there like a mysterious car accident or something? What's going on here?
What do you mean? One of the only things you care about is her?
Yeah, because it's like I'm sure
I don't like this implication.
Uncles love their nieces, but like. She's always with you. She seemingly lives with you. So yeah, don't think too hard about it. Yeah.
So they have another match, but there's like an immediate substitution where the cannibals are having their match against Tonga Tom and Roddy Piper, and they toss the ref out of the ring.
They bring chains. I did like the announcer going, "There goes the ref!
There goes the ref!"
And Harry tries to intercede, and of course he's still wearing that dress.
Yeah.
They does show the scene with him taking the dress off, showing that he's also wearing a bra underneath it, which is commitment.
Hey, yeah.
He didn't need to wear that.
Well, he had to support like the cantaloupes or whatever that he had in there.
Sure. But he shows up. And he's tossed out of the ring in a dress just to add the ultimate indignity to it.
Yeah. Now, if I may have a knock against director Hal Needham.
Please knock away.
Famed stunt director. The way that he's filming all the wrestling scenes, you can absolutely see not only the wrestler telegraphing what they're going to do, but also by how wide of a margin they miss contact.
Sure.
Yeah, it's...
just because he's a stunt guy, he made the Smokey and the Bandit movie, so, like, in terms of, like, stunts, it was crashing cars, and, like, jumping through plate glass windows.
Right.
And, like, falling off of the roofs of houses and stuff like that. He may not have had, like, the directorial eye for professional wrestling.
Probably not.
At the time.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you read the IMDb trivia on this.
Yeah, do you want to talk about this now? Because that actually technically happens in the final match.
Let's save it for that point.
Sure.
One of the things that I wanted to mention was that Dirk Benedict had no idea that wrestling was scripted until
he found out over the course of this movie.
That's
that wrestling
hilarious
was
to me.
Yes. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is how niche it was back then, where it was still kind of like this unique thing.
Yeah.
That only appealed to like a smaller demographic of people, as opposed to how it is today.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the good guys lose and
handedly,
and everyone ends up injured. Roddy and Tonga both end up in the hospital. Dirk Benedict also has like crutches and like a cast, but he's not in the hospital.
No, he's able to. He gets his red car back somehow.
There was inexplicably a scene earlier where he goes back and gets his car from the dealership, and then the dealer even says, "If you don't keep up with the payments, he'll repossess it again," and they points to the guy who repossessed the car. And then when he gets to the hospital, the guy repossesses his car. A real whiff of a running gag here.
Yeah, and also a whiff of a gag, that thing with the wheelchair.
Yeah, we got some wheelchair antics here. Just like this poor Harry might have killed a guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he straight up might have he does like the classic thing where like a guy's in a wheelchair and he's all like, "All right, buddy." Yeah. And then the wheelchair starts going. I did kind of like the guy in the wheel. He was like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
I know.
Right out of
that's kind of
right out of an Ernest movie or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the hospital, I guess Harry grows a conscience and he says he can't put his wrestlers in harm's way anymore, so he quits. And I'm like, this is their job. They've chosen to do this. They have done this their whole adult lives. They've embraced this. 2, this is your only revenue stream now.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing, Harry?
It doesn't feel good having people I like get hurt.
When the fuck?
It's wrestling, Harry. It's like the whole thing.
Yeah. When did you grow a fucking conscience, you
right
slime
now,
ball?
right in this moment.
Just a second after I got hurt.
I've always enjoyed the act of warfare, but I never thought anyone would get killed while doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Roddy's kind of funny here. Roddy has like his jaw kind of like
sewn shut.
So he kind of has like a funny voice in this.
It's okay,
Harry. It's
yeah.
all like
he did that well.
showing his on-screen talents,
or probably drawing from like past experiences and seeing the comedic bent to it.
Harry, go on. It wasn't your fault. We just got off to a bad start.
Harry goes back to his beach house and he's all sullen and depressed, which is established by him having,
5 o'clock shadow.
5 o'clock shadow.
That's how you know things happen. He's down on his dumps now.
Screenplay shorthand check. That's where Roddy Piper comes back and says, wrestling made all this possible. If you quit, I quit too. And that's where Harry Smilek decides, I got a crazy cockamamie idea.
Okay, so at this point in time, I'm like, oh, this actually isn't like a terrible idea. My assumption is at this point, he gets the idea to combine his rock band with the 2 wrestlers that he has and have them perform.
They'll do like road shows.
Yes, but I was under the assumption that he had come to the realization that they would like kind of like play concurrently, like at the same time.
Like the band performs while the wrestling match is going on, yeah.
He actually comes to that realization like several scenes later.
Yeah.
When he gets to like the venue and the venue guys all like, the band can't go on that night because we got another thing going on that night. He wanted 2 concurrent nights.
Yeah.
One for the rock band, one for the wrestlers.
But we only have 1 spot available.
And so like 10 minutes later, he comes to the realization, what if I create rock and wrestling? I'm all like, I thought that's what you were doing.
What was your plan?
What was your plan?
Technically,
Just like,
it would have been cheaper if you did have only 1 venue for 1 night only kind of entertainment instead of booking for 2.
Yeah, it seems like you're just throwing money away by doing this. Yeah.
Well, he also buys a fucking bus for these guys.
He buys a tour bus.
Buys a big tour bus. This guy's awful with money.
They're going on
but
the
he's
road.
already heavily in debt.
They've absconded with this little girl.
That's right.
Shouldn't she be in school?
Don't know where her
what is
parents
going
are.
on here?
Yeah.
This is just like an unaccompanied minor here. There's a scene on this tour bus where it appears that Roddy is just eating like a handful of white bread. Did you notice? I thought he was eating a sandwich, but then I looked closer and it just appears to be like 6 slices of white bread that he's just mowing down.
That's how he gets his grains.
That's how he does it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So they have their big house show at the hog insemination.
That's right. Yeah. They got to air it out the next night.
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely don't want to do it there.
How the show seems to manage is the rock band's on first. They play their 1 song. And
the crowd loves it because it's rock and roll.
Yeah.
We all love rock and roll.
And then there's a single tag match where their opponents are volunteers from the crowd.
I'm glad
this sounds like a horrible fucking show.
I'm glad they sourced that ahead of time because it's like they'll battle anyone in the crowd. It's all like, what if no one volunteered?
Yeah.
What was your backup plan?
Anybody at all?
And we get Pee-wee and Little Will, and the joke is Pee-wee is actually like a skinny
Scrawny guy.
Gomer Pyle type, but then Little Will, because that's an ironic name, because he's a big boy.
He's a big old fat man.
He's a big old fat man, and he comes in and they have a good old wrestling match.
Yeah. They seem to draw strength from their bard, the organist, at this arena.
Played by the great Ellen Albertini Dow, also best known as the rapping granny from The Wedding Singer.
How the fuck did you know that?
Because my brain is broken.
Jesus.
As I've mentioned many times, I didn't recognize her at first because of she's much younger in this movie than she normally.
But then as you saw her bopping to the music, you're like, oh shit.
It's rapping granny. She has the hip hop, the hip hop.
So yeah.
Also, previous episode launch shot.
Yeah.
If you remember all the way back then.
So yeah, Harry instructs the band to go back on stage and do like a fucking dueling banjos thing with the organist, and that's what turns the tide of the match. And and Roddy Piper wins.
Harry's very much like, yeah, this organist is killing it. I'm all like, I kind kind of feel like she's kind of bringing the energy. I don't know.
She punctuates the actual hits on the mat. Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
They should incorporate organ music in wrestling matches.
It's like that organist on The Simpsons who does Inagata Davida. Like she's just in on it. Yeah.
Right.
And so they win the match, and I like this moment at the end where the two guys from the audience get up and they all hug and they all high five. It's like, they're nice guys.
I mean, that is really cool and wholesome. Yeah.
Well, it's just because we've seen so many of these heel wrestlers so far. It's refreshing to find like a big tough bruiser who's not a piece of shit.
Who's a sweetheart at heart. Yeah. So yeah, they're a hit. They're an overnight sensation. There's there's a wrestling and rock music montage and a road trip montage.
They get the cover of Rolling Stone magazine.
That I find hard to believe.
And I did a Google search, which turned out to be a prompt that was too hard for Google to figure out because I was trying to Google search lamest Rolling Stone covers, and it's just like too much because there's the band Rolling Stones. It thought I was talking about like covers of other songs,
right?
So I couldn't find anything. But like
this has got to be up.
This had to be like that had to be like a slow news month for them. Couldn't imagine.
No one was putting out any music.
This,
it was
like this.
The editor
got on the cover of Rolling Stone before any of like the national wrestling leagues got on Rolling Stone.
Yeah, before Wide World of Sports or whatever, anything like that. It's just the editor of Rolling Stone just like, we're in the sewer. We need one article to save this magazine.
How did they get the rights for like the Rolling Stone logo or anything? They could have just named any fucking magazine, but no, it has to be the most iconic, austere fucking magazine of all times. Whatever.
Yeah, this one song by this one band that plays one time at this road wrestling show.
Living in America. It's not it, but I can't remember what it is right now. Body slamming in America.
Yeah.
So he tries to get back into Candace's good graces by bringing her a big old flower basket.
Faking a Mexican accent to get past the mother.
Yeah, because the film wasn't offensive enough.
Nope.
And I like this moment where like she's like, I don't want to talk to you, Harry. And then he comes into the sort of like the kitchen or whatever, and he's still holding like the flower basket. And then they hear the mom coming into the room. And this is such like a fancy house. They have like a built-in elevator in their kitchen.
Yeah.
So Tanya Robertson.
But like a dumbwaiter? Or like an actual elevator?
It's like an actual elevator.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice that.
Because it fits two people.
I didn't notice that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, what I liked about it is that they hear the mom coming back in. So Tanya Robertson and Dirk Benedict jump into the elevator. The elevator goes up, and the elevator takes them immediately to the next scene where they're back at Harry's beach house. Yeah. I just like that edit. That was fun. They go up, and here we are.
Elevator doors just open up.
Who knows what happened in between that?
Yeah. That's like that gag in Hot Shots where it's like they're walking out of the bar. It's like, oh, can I walk you home? Sure. And it's right next door to the bar.
And Charlotte is immediately forgiven him, and they start kissing.
He also pays the money that would have been owed to the campaign.
Sure.
So yeah, they're doing quite well.
He's paying off all of his debts except the one that
he probably should pay off.
Probably should pay off because they keep threatening his life.
Yeah.
But no, he did the right thing. Yeah. He paid off. He paid off the rich people.
Yeah.
which was the right thing to do.
So business is going good for him right now. But now, much as the same way where he suddenly grew a conscience and cared about his performance, now he's suddenly super ambitious and he wants the title. He wants to show to the actual wrestling league that booed them out that we can compete with your champions.
He wants to stick it to Captain Lou and the cannibals.
That's right.
For putting his buddies in the hospital. Absolutely. Yeah. Like he is,
yeah.
And and they've won like a handful of matches, so clearly they're ready to take on the champions again.
In a show that they control completely.
That's right. Outside of like the one exhibition match where they just grab two randos from the audience, all the other exhibition matches are in montage. I don't know who any of the other wrestlers are.
No, we don't know.
Just like other guys.
Like, are they going to all the other territories? Are these other volunteers?
And there's like a brief moment where they're at like, I'm just going to call it Insemination Hall, where Little Will is like lying on Roddy and he's like, Harry, do something. He's all like, I'll go get like the papers
to sign this
guy.
Yeah.
Not only do they not end up signing, which I thought would make like a ton of sense.
Absolutely.
Like, as Harry is going on his journey.
Build up your stable of talent.
Yeah. Yes, but he only has these two guys the entire time. And it's like, Yeah, wouldn't by the end of the movie, wouldn't he have like more wrestlers? Wouldn't he like gain more people from the?
He ought to. Like this ought to be a story of him starting his own wrestling company, his own wrestling, and controlling different wrestling territories,
and as the wrestling
and absorbing wrestling territories as Vince McMahon inherited.
And who's to say, as the wrestling becomes successful, he doesn't also end up succeeding in the music side of things, and maybe he signs like a couple of other talents to start playing,
like a warm-up band or
whatever.
something.
Yeah, maybe like the course of like this guy is that he actually becomes successful, other than movie successful, which is just the character saying, "We're successful now.
Yeah,
look, I have a handful of money. That means we're doing good."
Yeah,
but it's all like, you're not showing us that.
You're not
movie.
thinking big picture.
Yeah.
So there's a reunion on the Vic Carson show with all the managers, and
it's literally a repeat from like the last show. It's
pretty much.
It's almost as if it was the same filming day
Yeah.
as the previous scene, because I think they're all wearing the same outfits.
Yeah, and an F-bomb is dropped again, which is regrettable.
Well, if he's in the scene, he's calling someone that.
And so they set up like a.
Although he does get thrown out of the ring in this scene, so I did like that.
Yeah, they set up a.
Not because he's short, because he's a bigot.
Well said.
Continue.
Yes. So they set up this title and contracts are on the line kind of winner take all match at I don't know, the Staples Center in LA or what have you.
Yeah. And then there's no time to waste. We cut immediately to the night of the big events. We see a news reporter who says,
all the stars are here.
It's as big as the Super Bowl, the World Series, and the Academy Awards all rolled into one. And I think maybe he's being a bit excessive there.
Yeah, might be exaggerating a little there. We see another.
It's a tag team wrestling match.
Yeah. Captain Lou Albano.
I love this.
He storms onto the scene. He parks his Cruella de Vil car in a handicap spot. He's barging his way up the staircase like, get out of the way! Get out of the way!
He's literally like one of the integral people of this event that they're doing. He's like the wrestling manager of. He's like the most like well-renowned wrestling manager out of anyone here. He has like the most pull in the business, and he doesn't have like a private parking space or anything like that. He shows up like everyone else. He shows up,
it seems, minutes before the event starts.
Crowds are going up the stairs, and he's just going like, get out of the way! Out of... And he's like pushing people out of the way. He's going, go. Kids are running up. He's like, Captain Lou,
get lost, kid!
Get lost, kid! Get out of here!
The interview tried to have like a walk-and-talk interview with him, like, any thoughts on the upcoming match, Captain?
I'm gonna kill Smilax!
Smilax's a dead man!
Smilax is a dead man! I love him. He's great. He's so great in this.
So we're gonna bookmark Captain Lou episode for an upcoming WrestleMania.
He's in some other movies.
He is.
It can work.
Absolutely.
This is where so Harry sees Captain Lou drive his Cruella de Vil car and park it, and he's about to go into the building, but who should show up yet again but Mr. Kim and the Maori twins.
Hey, rule of three.
And this is where Harry gets one over on Captain Lou, and he does some like offensive Asian insults right to Mr. Kim's face and walks away. And then he points at Captain Lou's car and says like, "Don't mess with that one."
Yeah. So they take the jaws of life to it and destroy the car.
Except we don't even see that. I guess maybe they didn't clear the rights to actually destroy that car.
Yeah,
is my guess.
So
maybe that car was too nice, and whoever owned that was all like, you can use it, but no, you're not destroying it on film, which is like, that's the whole point. That's the gag.
So it's never established if he actually pays off the loan shark. I think they even established that his lawyer in the early scene actually got him off on paying the bill on a technicality or something. But because they're nasty foreigners.
I thought the lawyer said in like the first introductory scene that he got him off on a technicality, but then Mr. Kim said,
"Fuck that."
In Korea, technicalities are like Nightingale or some offensive bullshit like that.
Sure,
I don't know, but whatever. Like
Confucius say, "You pay now."
Yeah,
I am so sorry for it. God damn. Holy shit! I profusely apologize for that.
You're just being as racist as this movie is, so
right.
It's you could be worse. But anyway,
can't get much better.
that's also the last we see of those characters. Yep. kind of an unsatisfactory button on that running gag, but yeah.
So I mentioned that all the stars are here for this like main event match. a couple of Illuminary wrestlers in this. We got the Nature Boy himself. Ric Flair is in the crowd.
That was the one I recognized.
Yeah. We have classy Freddie Blassie, well into his manager phase where he's just like, cut from the same abrasive Captain Lou Albano cloth where he's just a grumpy guy.
I mean, these are like old school boys because this is 1986 we're talking about.
Yeah.
So these are like, and like, I thought this was the Iron Sheik, but it's not the Iron Sheik.
No.
It's like a different Sheik based.
Sheik O'Donnell Cassie.
And who I'm not super familiar with. Yeah, I think he was more of a manager himself. And the great Bruno Sammartino, who to this day has...
mug on that guy.
Yeah, to this... he's an absolute legend. To this day, he's held the heavyweight title the longest. And I think it was something like... I'm going to get it completely wrong, but it's one of those records that I believe will never be broken, just in the way that how the shows are constructed, where titles have to change over frequently. No, he's held it the longest and likely will continue to hold it the longest.
And if anyone ever breaks it, he'll burst out of his grave
and take it back.
I do like this too because not Iron Sheik and the other guy that you mentioned,
Freddie Blassie,
they're like the heel. They're like the heels of whatever because they introduce them and everyone starts booing them or whatever. So many reaction shots from these two guys.
Yeah,
those guys got like twice as many reaction shots as Ric Flair did. Ric Flair kind of disappears from the movie, but like the camera keeps cutting back to those guys watching the wrestling match, and they're all like, we're bad."
You're giving thumbs down to the crowds and
everything.
The
camera loves them.
They're great. Yeah, they're very animated. Surprised we didn't get much out of Ric Flair, to be honest. I really thought he would have.
He kind of grooves to the music a little bit, but he's not really into it. Yeah.
The band kicks up. They play their American Way song. Or
they have now been rebranded as just Kick.
Sure,
because that's
cooler.
That's like a cool thing. I guess there's like a joke later where it's all like, it's like it's not called the Who's, and then the Rolling Stone guy is all like,
"What about the Beatles?"
He's all like, "Fuck it,
Rolling Stone," you say?
Yeah. But whatever. So they've been rebranded, but they get interrupted mid-number by the Cannibals, who decide, you know what, we're going into the ring early,
and it's pandemonium in the crowd.
Look, the world that this movie presupposes is that all of this is real.
Yes.
But if this were like a fake event that everyone were like staging together as like with their combined efforts and everything like that, I would still do this as well. Like, this is a great way to like start off the evening.
Yeah.
Because we've already established that the rock band sets up Roddy and Tonga or whatever. So what better way to have the villains come out and destroy their drum set and break like the guitar or whatever? I mean, I guess it's expensive. You gotta buy a new guitar, but
no, it's like you gotta keep switching it up. Otherwise, the whole act's gonna get stale.
Yeah,
which I'm surprised it hasn't already. But this was a good call if it were actually intentional. But it's not intentional. No. The bad guys just come by and they destroy all the equipment. And then then a riot breaks out of the crowd.
Absolute riot breaks out. Charles Nelson Riley and Billy Barty are commentating from the booth up top, and Charles Nelson Riley's all like, "I have to go down there and stop this," and Billy Barty knocks him off camera.
Yeah,
like Charles Nelson Riley fully exits the frame, and then Billy Barty has like a cane, and he just goes like conk.
Yeah,
and I guess like Charles Nelson Riley is all like, I will not be knocked out on screen. That's one indignity that I will not give you. Hell need him. No. And we're just led to believe that that's what Billy Barty did. It's very awkward.
It's like how Dwayne Johnson can't lose on camera or something like that. Yeah.
It's Dwayne Johnson and Charles Nelson Riley. They both have that in their writers.
So we mentioned like an IMDb thing.
We get into this
now. All right.
Yeah.
So during like this whole riot, Harry Smilax says like, "Oh my God, like the band stopped too early. We got to get out there and fight these guys." So Piper and Tonga go in and fight the Cannibals, and apparently because there were so many takes that had to be done and things had to be set up and executed in a certain way, they started to lose the crowd, and they were peeling back the curtain on the fact that this is all stage shit.
So to reiterate, the crowd that they hired for this movie was starting to turn on the wrestlers who were playing characters in a fictional movie, but they were starting to turn on them because they noticed, because of the multiple ways that they had to like keep setting things up, that the wrestling was fake.
Yeah.
Kind of ridiculous, but again, you have to go back to 1986. Everyone thought this shit was legit back then. But also, again, I want to reiterate, it is legitimate. You're making a movie, though. It's different. It's not the same thing as if you're watching a wrestling match on television.
Yeah.
It's different. They're different shit going on.
Yeah, but now, like, I assume these would have been film extras, right?
Yeah.
Or like an actual...
But who knows where they grabbed film extras back in the day. They just grabbed random people off the street.
But yeah, like, it just sounds like Hal Needham lost control of the crowd and they started getting really unruly. And
so what the 4 wrestlers did is, in the moment, the 4 wrestlers all decided to improvise an actual fight. And they got the crowd back on their feet. And they actually started connecting. And, like, blood started forming. And Hal Needham freaked the fuck out. And he tried to intercede. And according to the IMDb trivia, was thrown out of the ring. Which, for any other... If it was, like... You know, if it was like fucking Sidney Pollack, that would be all like, oh my god. But as we all know, Hal Needham
probably could take a fall.
Hal Needham was known for like falling through like windows. He had an action figure that was like, look at how well this guy can get tossed through a fucking thing. But and apparently, like, Roddy Piper talked to Dirk Benedict by the end of it, and he said, like, we needed the crowd to believe that wrestling was real.
Yeah, our entire industry and livewhile depends on this.
They would have gone. I mean, there were no internet forums back then, but like the word would have gotten around. So yeah, they kept the illusion up by staging an
the
actual
magic
fight.
of wrestling is still real in a child's eye because of these 4 men.
And then I guess they finished the scene with like their actual injuries. I don't know how it worked.
I mean, that's pro wrestling, baby.
That's the story. I mean, like, this movie barely got released. I would love to watch a documentary on this movie. I mean, of course, the problem is basically everyone involved in it is dead now, except for Dirk Benedict. So it's just
and John Astin.
And John Astin, who's in one scene. So it's just Dirk Benedict, John Astin, and the little girl. That's it. That's your documentary.
That'll be a short talking head segment, I'll tell you that.
And the 2 lawyers who wrote the movie but don't want to talk about it because they sued the director.
I'm sure they flew off to the fucking Cayman Islands with suitcases full of money by this point.
But I would love to know more. If these are the stories that are like surfacing around on the IMDb forums, I would love to know more about what went on behind the scenes here.
We got to track down like someone who was a background extra in that final scene and just
like that. And like I said earlier, that axe guy apparently refused to leave a bar and he got arrested by the police. So like, there must be tons of crazy fucking stories in here. So get Dirk on the phone.
So to quickly wrap up the match,
like this movie does.
Yeah. The match finishes. The good guys win.
It's a wrestling match.
I don't
know what to tell you.
It's just a wrestling match.
It's a wrestling match.
Yeah. Harry Smilak, knocks out Captain Lou and then climbs into the ring. And
I think he gives him a nut shot.
Maybe, yeah. EC dub. And he pops into the ring and they're like, we did it, we're champions. And the 2 wrestlers hoist up their manager and the credits roll. It's a
freeze frame. No resolution. We don't see Captain Lou get his comeuppance. We kind of lose track of Captain Lou in the final scene. I think after he gets kicked in, then that's kind of it. We never catch up with Mr. Kim, or we
never see the developing relationship of Candace and Harry Smilak.
There's a lot of dangling threads left over, but
no. You know what? I think but the point of this like riot and like losing the crowd and Hal Needham getting tossed out of the ring, I'm positive he was just like,
we're done.
We're fucking done.
And you know what?
I'm done.
You know what? That's a picture wrap.
That's a career wrap.
That's a picture wrap on this movie and just me in the film industry. How about that? I'm out.
Oh man, that's Body Slam, everybody. Anything that we didn't bring up that...
Well, I just want to talk about the absolute... What do you have?
Well, before we delve into that, the one thing that I want to mention is before the first night of the combined rock band and wrestling match.
The rock and wrestling,
thank you. Harry Smilak and Missy are putting up posters next to like a concession stand. And as Harry Smilak walks by to the concession stand people, he's just like, hey, make sure to tell your friends. He looks over to Missy and she has like this almost sad or disappointed look in him. So he goes over and he gives her $1. And then she happily walks away.
Because that's how he knows how to make people happy.
The fuck was the point of that scene?
Money's the only way he can spread found joy in his life.
If we had just filmed her turning around to get some candy from the concession stand, it would make sense. But he just hands her $1 and she walks away.
Oh yeah, I didn't even
what
think
the
about
fuck
that.
is going on there?
Oh man.
Oh.
I just wanted to point out a joke that I
Trim the
forgot about.
fat, Hal Needham.
It's a very short movie,
Yeah.
so it's not much. It's a lean cut.
Yeah.
I just remembered a joke that actually genuinely made me laugh when he's on Ring Talk. The first time he's on Ring Talk and he's sort of like introducing himself, he kind of goes, and by the way, if you would like wrestling promotion or any other type of management, call 555, and the number immediately comes up on screen. That graphics team was ready.
Yeah.
They were ready at the thing. It's like he clearly told them ahead of time, I'm going to drop the number. Be ready. Have your finger on the button.
Call me day or night.
I just love how fast it popped up.
Yeah.
The last thing that I want to talk about, the absolutely atrocious poster for this movie, which just like. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah.
I'll take
I
a
was
peek
looking at it right now.
So the number one chief.
Everywhere you look, it's a different adventure.
So the biggest flaw with this movie, first and foremost,
is right at the top. It says a genuinely funny film.
Yes. That's a pull quote from Variety magazine, a genuinely funny film.
Yeah.
It's one of those quotes where it's all like, if they had bothered to write any jokes, this could be a genuinely funny film. The number one cardinal sin of this poster, there's not a single wrestler on it.
No.
There's nothing to do with wrestling at all. Roddy's not on it. Captain Lou's not on it.
Nope.
So we got Dirk and Tanya front and center. Dirk is holding his keys in his hand. He's doing that classic poster lean thing where like one of his feet are like behind his thing. It's
Roger Moore pose.
The Roger Moore pose, where it's like if you did that in real life, you'd fall over after like 5 seconds. So we got Dirk on the poster. We got Tanya on the poster. Roddy's not on the poster. Captain Lou's not on the poster. Who makes it on the poster? Mr. Kim.
Yep.
Of all characters, and he's got his hands on his hips, and he's holding up a sign that says, Smilac owes me $150,000.
This is way too tiny of a font to be on a poster.
Which for two things. One, I don't remember it, but he says the amount that Smilac owes him in the movie numerous times. It's not $150,000. It's a much more like specific amount with like 19 cents at the end of it.
$67,811.19 to be deadly specific.
Number two, why would he be holding up a sign? What purpose would that serve? The only purpose he's holding up the sign is for us, the audience, to know that this man is Smilac and he owes this man $150,000.
That looks like the sort of thing you would see in a political cartoon.
Yes. He even has a bowler hat on.
He should have a sash on it that says Korean Bank or something.
And then on the left side here, of course, the classic running joke from this movie is someone is smashing up Harry's car, but it's not the Maori twins. To the best of my recollection, this isn't even a character from the movie.
Nope, and that's not even a car that he drives.
Nope.
The engine is somehow outside of the car.
He removed it. He has a crowbar.
Yeah.
But it's
the man looks like, because like he's behind the car, it looks like he doesn't have any feet.
That's true. And also from the position that I'm seeing him in, like, where's that going to go down? It's going to go inside of the convertible.
It's going to whack it in the thigh.
But it's just like, this is a movie about, I mean, it's a movie about a couple of different things, but like, it is a wrestling movie.
Yeah.
It has like famous professional wrestlers in it. And the way you choose to market the movie is your two non-wrestling actors and this minor racist character. Yeah. We really want to hammer home that Smilac owes this guy money. What a weird fucking way to market this movie.
Oh, because it's absolutely trying to capitalize on the rise of pro wrestling in the 80s. I wonder if WWF saw a rough cut of this and said, you're not putting any of our talent on the poster.
They might have seen a rough cut of it. I don't know. Like I mentioned, like this movie was barely released.
Yeah.
It basically went straight to home video and did absolutely no one involved in it any favors. It literally ended the career of its director. Maybe he retired. He was probably old by that point, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he quit the film industry because of this movie. I just know
it would make
that
sense.
it was his last movie. That's all I know.
It would make sense, yeah. Body Slam.
Body Slam. Did it have a certain something, or was it a whole lot of nothing? Jameson. I mean, I think this is pretty dumb.
Yes.
I think it's pretty silly. I didn't hate watching it.
I kind of did.
There was there was definitely kind of like a moment where I'm like, oh, thank God it's almost over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's an interesting time capsule. It's far from the worst thing we've ever watched.
No, it's,
but like,
you know what? I think my issue with it is just that it's very disjointed, and they had the idea that we can get away with having a disjointed comedy with a lot of script shorthand just to kind of further this dumb plot along. I just couldn't get into it.
I'll give it this. I liked it more than The Villain. I liked it more than the other Haldina movie. That movie really annoyed me so much because it was setting up all of like these classic cartoon gags.
You saw where they were going for, and they didn't veer from it.
Failing to like execute any of them in like successfully.
Yeah.
This movie is not as ambitious as that. But that doesn't mean it's good.
You know what? It's both predictable and unpredictable. That's what I'll say about this.
I will agree. Much like the rubber bands on Captain Lou Albano's face, I couldn't have predicted that.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, this movie is not available on YouTube, so I can't even tell you to scrub through it. Where did we find it?
I don't know, that weird Russian streaming site.
There's like a couple of things. Look, if you find this, scrub through it. Maybe the Captain Lou scenes exist on YouTube. Watch those because they're great. I mean, just watch any Captain Lou footage. It's deeply entertaining.
Yeah, he elevates the movie.
I love the two cannibal guys. They're great.
Good villains, I'll say in this.
Everything else, I can take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the real question though. How does this performance stack up against the other Roddy performances that we've seen?
Very good question.
Because he's kind of just playing like an all-around good guy.
Good guy, yeah.
Like without a ton of like variety in what he's doing.
Well, see, in the Shepherd, he was like a cult leader.
Yes,
yes, he was. And in Billy Owens, he was like
he was the Dumbledore. He was a magic store owner.
He was Tom Waits as Dumbledore. So I would say that, I don't know, mid-performance, because he barely had a character in No Contest, and he was just playing a dumber version of this character in Tag Team.
Yeah.
I think that's, so right in the middle, which is where I think this movie belongs.
Sure. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and I guess that's our WrestleMania.
That's our WrestleMania for 2025. Mm-hmm. And did we learn anything? I learned a lot because I watched that documentary.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you
go.
Learned a little bit more about the legacy of these.
It was such a weird documentary to watch because, like, it's so comprehensive about the history of WWE, and I was genuinely fascinated to learn like the history of it. And they have like
I thought you might be. I thought you'd come around to it.
They have all of like these. Like talking heads, like so much of it is like direct interview footage of Vince because as they stated in the opening thing, they found out about the allegations mid-filming. So they have all of this footage of Vince being I'm putting candid in quotes because clearly Vince McMahon presents himself as a certain type of person and is a different type of person.
And definitely a manipulator and definitely
an abuser.
Yeah.
So I'm watching this documentary and I'm all like, this is so fascinating. These are such like great stories. Like I'm so excited to learn about like the history of this stuff.
It's also,
and then in the back of my mind, I have to keep reminding myself, right, it's all going to come crashing down.
Yeah. And
like it's in the process of crashing down right now.
Yeah. And he's only telling you the stuff that he wants you to know. Right. And it's also just an interesting look back on like the last 40 or so years of this very niche, very unique thing in culture. I mean, the one thing that I think I appreciated from doing this series is the variety and the legacy of some of the people that we covered, like Triple H, had a fascinating trajectory that had a great influence on the sport, much in the same way that Roddy Piper, fantastically entertaining bad guy who's just like an absolute sweetheart and found multiple successes outside of this. And then we had the Ultimate Warrior, notorious asshole who had a lot of tribulation outside of this.
And was presented as a hero.
Yeah, and we really covered the entire gamut of the kind of people you can expect in.
That's what we like to do on WrestleMania.
That's right. Yeah, our most cerebral of series.
We do. We really like break things down.
Yeah.
We really, this is where we really like get to know ourselves and society.
Yeah. One last thing I'll circle back to is that like you had started out as saying, Oh yeah, Jameson, you're a wrestling guy. You're like our expert on this.
I immediately, I feel like I say that every year.
Yeah. I just had to remind myself. I was like, what are you talking about, Kaz? Meanwhile, I dressed as Roddy Piper for Halloween last year, and I went to Survivor Series when it was in Vancouver a couple of months ago.
Yeah,
so like, I guess by that token, yeah.
And you watch WrestleMania with your buddies every year, and you drink wine. And
yeah.
It's like, I know.
All right.
Ever since we've started doing this, Jameson, you have
I've been the
yourself
guy
as the wrestling guy.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not as hardcore as some other people out there, but you know what? Maybe that's okay.
Yeah. I'm a Paul Heyman guy.
Sure.
And if you know, you know.
It's a name that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
He's part of that dynasty, right?
No. Well, actually, he manages Roman Reigns.
There you go.
Wait, he did. I'll get into it.
He married into it.
Yeah.
Well, that was Body Slam.
Yes, it was.
Directed by Hal Needham. If you like this episode, please check out our back catalog of episodes. If you go further into the back catalog, we are under the name of The Fuck Is This? Don't worry about it. It's the same podcast. It's just Jameson and me. We're just talking about movies. Sometimes there's a guest, but we're just having a laugh. We're just keeping it loose. We're just keeping the flow. No, I don't like that one. Strike that one from the record. You can follow us on all the social media. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We'd like to thank Eddie Lamb for his fantastic theme music. You can follow me on Letterboxd. I'm Kaz Lesgard.
I'm Jameson Rafter. I have a YouTube channel where I make web cartoons and all kinds of good stuff. I'll leave you with this iconic quote from the late, great Roddy Piper. You want to say it with me?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
And I'm going to leave you with a quote from the late, great Captain Lou Albano.
Oh.
When you take crack, you go to hell before you die. Please.
Oh.
Hey, paisanos! When you take crack, you go to hell before you die! Please. Please, Luigi.
Oh, Mario.
Hello, Mario. We're just doing all of it. We're just doing all the bits.